Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to all of our friends on Facebook. We're coming to you live from Congregation Beth Yeshurun, where we meet every Thursday morning for a Chumash class at 9:30 at Beth Yeshurun. So thank you for joining us. Today we are up to way number 30, because we counted last night the 30th day of the Omer. So what is the 30th magical way that our sages give us in the Mishnah to maximize pleasure in life? Anybody? Well, way number 29 was don't take too much pride. Don't take pride in the sense that only when you earn it, when you work hard for something, that's something to be proud of. But for someone to be proud of a gift that's God given, what did you do to this? What did you do to earn it? Well, be born sometimes, right? But it's very important for us to recognize the difference between earning something, working hard to overcoming obstacles, than just landing at success. Way number 30 is to be loved. Ahuv means to be loved by others, to be loved by God. So we know the Mishnah tells us, Kol shel ruach habriot nocha himeno, ruach hamakom nocha himeno. If the Almighty is pleased with a person, the people will be pleased with the person. V'kol shel ruach habriot nocha himeno, ruach hamakom nocha himeno. And that anybody who people are pleased with them, the Almighty is pleased with them. So the first way for a person to be loved by others is to love other people. Because when you love people, they'll love you in return. Right? So that's because otherwise, well, how can I control if people are going to love me or not? Right? I don't have the power I can't. You certainly can't force people to love you, right? You can't put a gun to someone's head and say, "Love me or else," right? That doesn't work. So what can we do to increase the love from other people? It means to be loved. So the first thing is like this: a person must love themselves. Right? A person, in the Talmud, the Torah goes on a very basic assumption that people do. Why? Because what is the mitzvah to love your fellow like yourself? Meaning you love yourself already. That's established. If a person doesn't love himself, we need to talk after class. But if a healthy person should be loving themselves, they should feel a joy, a kinship, a friendship with themselves, right? They should have that. Now, another thing is that we say this a lot. What's the word ahava, which means love, comes from the root word of hav, to give, right? And the more you give, the more you love. That's a known teaching of our sages. The more you give, the more you love. So if you take, for example, the Shema, we say in Shema, V'ahavta et Hashem elokach, and you shall love Hashem your God. That's like what we were saying earlier. You put a gun to someone's head and you say, you better love me or else. And here God is telling us, V'ahavta et Hashem elokach, you should love Hashem your God. What do you mean? You can't force an emotion. So how can God command us to love Him? There's a mitzvah in the Torah to love Hashem. You know that? So what did we say? Love is giving. Love is seeing the virtue in something as well. So when you see the quality, you see the virtue, the potential of something. We see Yaakov's brother Esav, right? It says that his father Yitzchak loved Esav. Esav was a wicked kid, right? How could he love him? Well, what he loved is he saw his virtue. He saw his quality. Now, it wasn't brought to life. Okay, that's why he was called a rasha. He was called a wicked person. But he saw the potential, and that's what he loved. He loved that potential. But when it comes to V'ahavta Hashem elokach, loving Hashem your God, the reason why there's such a commandment is because if we're saying that loving is giving, God gives us endlessly. So our only job is not to give back. God is not deficient in anything. He doesn't need our favors, so to speak. God doesn't either need our prayers. He doesn't need it. It's for us to stop and recognize everything that God does for us. And the second we stop and recognize, there's no question that we'll love. Right? So the more we stop and recognize the abundance of God's goodness and kindness to us, the more we're going to love Him. So that's why there's a commandment to love Hashem your God, meaning stop and recognize everything that Hashem does for you. From giving you air to breathe, giving you legs to walk with, right? And everything else in between. So it's really to love is to give. You know, you ask parents who have a special needs child and other children. So I know you love all of your children equally, but which child would you say you have a stronger bond with, and you have a strong? They'll always say the one with the special. Why? Because they give so much more to that child. The more you give, the more you love. In a marriage, right? The biggest mistake that our generation is making when it comes to marriage and relationships is they think it's all about taking. That's why the marriages aren't lasting. But as soon as you change it around and it's what can I give in a relationship, then it's a totally different story. That's where love grows. So if a couple meets and gets to know each other and they fall in love, that's not love, right? That could be lust, it could be infatuation. There are many different definitions to that kind of love. But that's not love because that giving hasn't begun yet. That selfless giving, right, takes a lot of giving to get to the point of where that love grows and grows and grows. And that's why love isn't something that has an expiration date. Or it shouldn't, at least. It shouldn't have an expiration date because the more we give, the more we love. Now, there's another element of this is that a person has to be careful not to be taken advantage of, and a person shouldn't be hurt through the giving. Sometimes that's also possible. But the idea is that the more you give and love and share with other people, it will be reciprocated in return. And that is way number 30. If you want to maximize life, love other people, and they'll love you in return. And with that, my friends, thank you for joining us on Facebook, and we look forward to having you right here in class live with us at Congregation Beth Yeshurun every Thursday morning at 9:30. Have a great day.